physically sensual. They will assault your senses. They are incorporated. They will bend your mind, shatter your sanity, and seal your fate. Lethal Ladies Inc. Try us on for size. We will take your breath away.
They're all messed up.
Beyond recognition.
Howdy, gang, and I apologize that this is so late, but some people like to come into these late live streams. Some people, stay up at all hours, kind of like I do. And I probably really shouldn't when I'm working, but um, I did, excuse me, I had to get caught up on some tickets today, so I worked a little bit later. Hence, it took me a little while to watch both of these movies. So in a little bit, we're going to be talking about the kills in Dear Dead Delilah and Deathline. Dear Dead Delilah, I had never seen before tonight. Both of these movies came out in 1972. Deathline, I have seen, but it's been many, many moons since I've seen it. So it's kind of like watching it, fresh again. So we're going to get to that or both of these movies here in just a little bit. But as usual, I want to get some housekeeping stuff out of the way before we get started. So no watch-alongs this weekend. No Friday Foolish tomorrow. I think Candace is going to be out of town. We'll have to wait for another Friday to do Friday Foolish, but I will let you guys and gals know when we're going to do that. However, we will be having an Evil Dead Chicks Slasher Fest. It'll be the second Evil Dead Chicks Slasher Fest that takes place on the first Friday of the month. This time it just happens to coincide with my 49th birthday. So not only will we be watching a couple of slasher movies, The Burning and Bloody Birthday, but we'll also be having kind of a birthday bash for me. I'm getting to be an old woman. I got to get my kicks somehow. So I'm going to have a big birthday bash and Evil Dead Chicks Slasher Fest. There's going to be some guests and surprises and all of that. So be sure to join me for that starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night. And again, the movies are going to be The Burning and Bloody Birthday. And of course, Bloody Birthday is going to be in honor of my 49th birthday. So, no movie munchies, no watch alongs, No Friday Foolish, but you are going to get Evil Dead Chick Slasher Fest and my 49th birthday bash. So, um, look forward to all of that coming up. And hopefully next week, I won't have to reschedule anything. We'll have more Dick's Picks and more cannon fodder, um, and more. They're all messed up. And who knows? Maybe me and Candace will both be free and we'll be able to do a Friday Foolish. So, tonight, because this is a live stream, you can play movie roulette. And how do you play movie roulette? Well, during any live streams I do, that includes this one, that includes watch alongs, that includes Evil Dead Chick Slasher Fest. You can pick any movie of your choosing if you give a $5 or more super chat during these live streams. And it can be any movie, any genre. Doesn't have to be horror. It can be comedy. It can be drama. It can be sci-fi. It could be sci-fi horror. You just pull them out of your hat, folks. I'm going to be having one coming up here shortly, as soon as I get a chance to watch the movie, for What We Do in the Shadows, which was Milek's pick. Bless you, sir. You gave a $10 super chat during one of my recent live streams. And so on an upcoming movie roulette, I'm going to be discussing all things What We Do in the Shadows. I like to do 2 movies. That's why I'm trying to encourage people to play movie roulette. All right. So the polls are still up for the watch along choices for not this weekend, but the following weekend. So I believe, one second here, we'll see who's in the lead here. So for Saturday, June 14th, which happens to be my parents' wedding anniversary, Madman is in the lead with Last House on the Left second, and Just Before Dawn is in third. For Sunday's watch along choices for Sunday, June 15th, Dazed and Confused is in the lead by a little bit, then Beverly Hills Cop and The Legend of Billie Jean. So if you haven't gotten your votes in and you want to have a say so about which movies are picked for those watch along dates, please get your votes in soon. I will be locking down the voting this Sunday. So keep that in mind, okay? So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into these movies and the kills in the movies, which is the primary part of They're All Messed Up, right? Okay, so the first one, of course, is Dear Dead Delilah, came out in 1972. Both of the films I'm going to talk about tonight came out in 1972. This one was directed by John Ferris. And guess who's in this movie, folks? I didn't ever know he did a movie like this. Will Geer, who played Grandpa Walton on The Waltons. He plays a lawyer in this film. So let's get down to the kills in this one. There are a total of 7 kills in this, and I will be totally honest, it's a little slow to get started. There's a kill at the beginning, and then there's not anything for a while, and then it kicks into high gear, and there's a lot of them. So I was like thinking, when is another kill gonna happen? So we have a woman's arm cut off with an axe. We've got a man's hand cut off with an axe. Woman axed in the face. A man axed in the chest. A lot of axe action in this, and a woman decapitated with the axe. That was probably one of my favorite kills in the film. There's a woman that's just basically axed to death. She's chopped up. And a man shot in the face multiple times, which was probably my second favorite kill in the film. So what's Dear Dead Delilah about? Well, it starts out and it's about a woman named Letty in Nashville, Tennessee in like 1943, I believe. And we find out she has killed her mama with an axe. I guess she cut her arm off and just, let her bleed to death, basically, because mama didn't like the man that Letty was in love with. And she had hit her in the face with the guy's picture. Sorry about that. That was Facebook making a little notification noise. Um, so her mama had hit her in the face, and she's got a big like bruise on her face where she hit her with the picture of her man. Now, it's not really clear whether Letty was delusional and thought that this man was in love with her, or because you never see this guy, you just see a picture of him. So Letty, I thought she was going to go to the mental hospital, but she evidently goes to a women's prison. And then many years later, she is let out, and she's an older woman. And she's very shy and unassuming and almost childlike. So she's riding on a bus to apparently come back to her hometown. And things have changed. Um, it was still cheap to ride the bus, but she gets on the bus and she doesn't put enough money in the little place where you put your coins in when you get on the bus. The buses around here are a lot like that, only you can have electronic cards too on the buses now. But she puts coins in there, and the driver says, it's 25 cents now, ma'am, which seems like extremely cheap. But by 1972 standards, that probably wasn't that cheap. So she puts more money in there, and she ends up getting off the bus because she really doesn't have anywhere to go. She doesn't have a home or anything like that to go to. And she gets off the bus because she sees these, I guess they're like college students playing sports out on the lawn of the college. And she draws really, really well. And so she's sketching the boys. And they accidentally, throw is it a ball? Like, are they playing? I can't recall if they're playing football or what, but they throw the ball and it hits Letty and kind of knocks her on her ass pretty much. And they all come running over. And there's a girl that's dating one of the main guys that was playing the sports out on the lawn. And they're real, like, kind of ritzy, kind of entitled type of people. And we learn more about them as it goes along. But I don't know if the young woman is studying to be a nurse or what, but she says, we better make sure she's okay. And she says, says to her boyfriend, we better, take her home. So they take her to her Aunt Delilah's house. And see, I thought the woman at the beginning, Letty, I thought that was going to be Delilah. But Delilah is the old woman whose house everybody is apparently staying at. So Ray, Will Gear's character, is the lawyer, and he's trying to, when people get older, they like to get all their affairs in order. And she's not really proud of her, her kinfolk, her and nieces and nephews and brother and stuff like that. She just doesn't care for them. She thinks they're just a terrible bunch of people, and that they only have eyes on this money. And she keeps talking about horse money. And some of the people in the family believe it's buried somewhere on the grounds of the house, and some people say it doesn't exist at all. But everybody wants to get their hands on it because it's supposed to be a lot of money. So Letty comes to stay there, and she starts to have nightmares about an axe and about what happened to her mother, what she did to her mother many years ago. And so people start getting killed off with an axe, and you start to wonder, is Letty up to her old tricks again, or was that just a one time thing? She just lost her mind and killed her mama. Um, so we got a lot of good kills in this movie. The acting leaves a little to be desired. Will Geer is probably about the best actor in the film, um, to be totally honest. Um, but in fact, most of the people are alcoholics in this. I mean, they stumble around, they're drinking, they're slurring their words and stuff like that. And so, not a really upstanding group of people living in this house. So you don't really have a lot of sympathy for a lot of them. I think who you're supposed to have sympathy for, and who I did have sympathy for, was Letty. Even though she killed her mama at the beginning of the movie, she's more of an innocent. Like I said, she's very, very childlike. So a lot of good kills in this. It's a decent movie, just the acting leaves a little bit to be desired. You can watch it on YouTube. Just look it up under Dear Dead Delilah. It's an old film, keep that in mind, 1972, so it's not going to look great. But I think Vinegar Syndrome must have put this movie out at one time. Probably looks better if you actually get the physical copy from Vinegar Syndrome than it would on YouTube. Because I saw the Vinegar Syndrome logo at the end. I was like, whoa, they're pretty bold. They're just sticking this right on YouTube. So I don't know how long it'll stay on there. It may stay on there forever. It might get taken down tonight or tomorrow or whatever. So that's Dear Dead Delilah. But the second film I watched, I was surprised, folks, that I only counted a total of 3 single deaths in this. Now, there were a bunch of dead bodies in the old subway line. But they apparently were not killed by the main killer in this. So this one also came out in 1972, directed by Gary Sherman, who also did Dead and Buried, which I like Deathline. I really like it a lot. And it's got Donald Pleasance and Christopher Lee. And Norman Rossington is in this too. And you might be saying, well, who the hell is Norman Rossington name? Well, for people that were into the Beatles and watched Hard Day's Night in particular, Norman Rossington was basically like their manager, the Beatles manager within the film Hard Day's Night. So it was nice to see him playing a cop along with Donald Pleasance. He was like Donald Pleasance's partner. And Christopher Lee's also in this. Not as big of a part as Donald Pleasance is, but Donald Pleasance is freaking funny in this movie. The comments he makes and how he's dressed and stuff like that. It's very British, and it was filmed in the UK. If you don't believe me, watch the movie, watch all the way to the end. It will tell you it's filmed there. So basically, people are getting killed off either when they go to check out this old subway line that nothing's been used there for ages, or the killer comes out and grabs them, and he comes to the new subway line and grabs people and takes them back. And I don't really know if he does it because he's lonely, because everybody else has died and he's the only one left. In fact, they say near the end of the movie that there are several generations of people that survived, because supposedly, I don't know if there was a cave-in or what, but people got trapped. And I guess nobody cared enough to try to get them out. And so they wound up living there But then, eventually they would die, and there was only one guy left. And I think one of the reasons he was kidnapping people, well, he kidnaps a woman at one point, is because he's lonely. But she rejects him, and he becomes angry and starts beating on her and stuff. Um, so we see several dead bodies, but we don't think that these are killed by the main killer. They're just people that were trapped down there, and eventually they died. But the three main deaths that happen, a man, it appears he gets his throat slit, a man's head is sliced in two with a shovel, and a man is speared with a shovel handle. Those two deaths were probably my favorite deaths, especially the guy getting his head split with the shovel. I was surprised that there was not more deaths in it, but seeing Donald Pleasance go around and the funny stuff he's saying, and him and Norman Rossington are just perfect to play off of each other. I like the balance of comedy and horror in this. It was really good, and I think Gary Sherman did a really good job with it. I, yeah, would I've liked for there to be more deaths in there? Well, heck yeah, but it's still a good movie, and I was glad that I went back and rewatched it again. It was nice to go back and then see this movie again. Um, so I forgot to give a rating for Dear Dead Delilah. So we're first of all we're going to give a rating for Dear Dead Delilah. Um, which surprisingly enough, I'm not going to give it a 5, but I'm going to give it 4 deadites out of 5 just because it was fun. It had bad acting in it, and it's a bad movie, but to me, it's so bad it's good. And it had a couple of really good deaths in it, the decapitation scene and the guy getting his face shot off multiple times. Um, so Deathline as a whole, it didn't have nearly the deaths that, Dear Dead Delilah did, but it's a well made film. I love Gary Sherman's films. I think he does an excellent job with them. And because of the whole of the movie, I'm going to give Deathline 5 deadites out of 5. You can also watch Deathline on YouTube as well. Not a really good copy, but I couldn't find my copy on DVD, so I was reduced to watching it on YouTube. Um, so um, I know I kind of went through these fast, but like I've said before, they're all messed up. It's not supposed to be a long, elaborate stream. I just like to get on here, talk about the kills in each of the movies, and give a rating. And then usually it's by that time I feel like it's time to get off of here. But the next they're all messed up will be for Evil Come, Evil Go, directed by Walt Davis from 1972, and one directed by Pete Walker, who's one of my favorite British directors for slasher films, The Flesh and Blood Show from 1972. So be sure to tune in for that next Thursday. Hopefully, I'll be able to do that next Thursday. And I guess that's all from me. So, as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. Oh, you know what? I did not show because I didn't actually have a physical copy. Let me show this real quick before I get off here. I just totally forgot. This is a poster for Dear Dead Delilah. I do like this. Puts terror into a new dimension. I don't know if they had it, in 3D or what. You pay for the whole seat. You only use the edge. So I think that's a pretty cool poster. And then there are several different posters for Deathline. It was also under the title Raw Meat. So you may see some posters with the Raw Meat title. But you can see that Donald Pleasance and Christopher Lee are both on this. I think that's good artwork. It says A New Line in Terror. So I pulled those from the internet. I thought I better show these. I meant to show them while I was talking about the film, and it just totally slipped my mind. But now, as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. And remember, there are several things you can do to support me and the channel, and they don't cost you one dime. One is to subscribe if you have not subscribed to my channel and you're enjoying the content. It costs you nothing, right? Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new content that I'm putting out. And like any of the content that you especially enjoy. And also share with your friends and family members my channel that you think would enjoy the content I'm putting out. That costs them nothing, it costs you nothing, but it helps me get up there in the algorithms of YouTube. And remember, if I can get to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm about 930 in, don't have that many to go. And remember, it costs you nothing to subscribe. And I know a lot of you have already subscribed, but if I'm enjoying somebody's content even a little bit, I will subscribe. Because why not? But if I can get to 1,000 subscribers, me and Candace are going to do a little cosplay for you. I'm going to be Cheryl from The Evil Dead, and Candace is going to be Mrs. Roper from Three's Company. So if you want to see us do some cool cosplay, let's help me get to 1,000 subscribers. And remember, it doesn't cost you one thin dime to do that. Okay, so with that being said, I am out of here for the night. You guys and gals have a wonderful rest of your Thursday night. And we're going into Friday. I've got a short day tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to it because it's my birthday and I'm ready to get out of work. And Steve's going to take me to the Yummy Bowl to eat when he gets home from work. And I guess that's all for me. So I'll see everybody next time.